Yeah, it's a beautiful rainy evening in the city of the gods. You know, I just wanted to speak to you about the city of the gods. You know, it's kind of weird. We look at mythology and fables and even science fiction as just being science fiction and something of the imagination. You know, we don't see there's a thin line, really, very thin line between fiction and non-fiction. It's still all part of the world of fiction, imagination. Now, the thing with imagination is we all believe that imagination is an act of you conjuring up something in your head or your mind. All right. The thing with imagination that they don't tell you and explain to you is that when you go to think and conjure up this imaginary thing that you're thinking about, you had to use real things. You can't just imagine something because what you imagine would be unique to this world. So when people see what you're imagining, they can't perceive it because they never seen it before to identify it. So when you say you're imagining, imagine a creature. It has arms, right? I guess. Legs, I guess. A head, I guess. And a body. You didn't imagine that. That's the basic humanoid. That's all that is. Imagination takes something that is unique or individualized and it makes it like only you identify it, something never seen before. Like graffiti. When graffiti came, nobody saw those type of letters before, that style or anything. So that was part of now what's called a true imagination. So when we say we imagine something, you go back now to the fictional movies and whatever books you read, they can't imagine it because they didn't create something unique that you couldn't identify with. Whatever they write, you could identify with it because imagination is a process of thought. When thought is being distributed, it's not something you create. It's a frequency you tune to. What's on those frequencies? It's a whole nother story. But when you tune to these frequencies, those thoughts is prefabricated, like a bunch of options, and you just choose one. So you really never created a thought. You just tuned into them, and you picked and choose and put them together to create your own. So in reality, you really can't create nothing with imagination. Imagination is either you putting it together or you're taking it apart or restructuring it in your own way. Now, when you look at it from that perspective, you understand that thin line that I was telling you about between fiction and non-fiction. Now, when you look at your government system and the elite, you're looking at peoples that need power. So how would you achieve power? The only way you could achieve power and make it unfairly is if somebody has all the power, or what we would call knowledge, to make power. So how do you stop the rest of the world from acquiring knowledge so they could be powerful? Only way you could do that is by censoring knowledge. So we live in a world that they call the New World. They decided to create it purposely to suppress knowledge, to leave a state of a population lower than the elite that made the place up, and their families live good. You get monarchs, kings, and rulers. Their information is different from the information you receive. They have their high priests, they have their astrologers, and they have their shaman, spiritual specialists that do everything for them. But you have a doctor, You read the newspaper to get your astrology, and as far as magician or anything like that, that now you believe is your imagination. So, on that note now, with all of this going on, there's a censorship of knowledge. Knowledge is passed down in two levels. There's scholarship knowledge or elite knowledge, and then there's what's called exoteric knowledge. Just the basic, and that's what we are taking as real information. So you can't imagine nothing because they provided the stuff that you need to imagine with and put together your options. For you to really imagine, you would have to break those options. And for you to break those options, you will have to leave the basic understanding of how you see social systems and how our government system is created. You will have to break that tyranny because that's what controls your mind. Once they have control of your mind, they got control of your imagination, your thoughts, and everything else. So with that in mind now, this is what you're going to have to do to make this thing make a whole 360 degrees. When you watch the movies on Netflix, all of them share the same theme. They don't change. They don't have an imagination. Go on there and watch one show, and you will see it's another copy of the same topic. Everybody who deal with a topic share the same information because they can't imagine it. You never looked at it from that point of view, but that's the real truth of everything. So go back and watch. Everything is about the same zombies, the same going back into the sword and fighting days, same witch, same everything, same fake UFO documentaries. Nobody has an imagination of their own. Now, speaking of UFO and documentaries, let's look at life like this. We watching me explain things to y'all, but nobody really experienced it. 90% of the people who watch this is going to reshape their perspective and see things a little different. With them seeing things different, it was similar to experiencing it. So it's like we clone words into experiences. By us being able to do that now, a lot of us is denied experiences. So we believe instead of knowing. Knowing is going out to achieve the experience. So how would you get the experience going out and doing this? It's only done by you having some type of inner spirit or something in you that say, hey, I believe that the sky is really green. Let me go YouTube, read books, whatever, research the subject. Then you find shit that starts saying the sky is emerald, the sky is topaz. Then you be like, shit, I knew the sky wasn't blue. You didn't prove it was green, but you know it ain't blue. Well, this is the whole point that I'm saying. We can't say things without at least testing it for ourselves. Then your imagination become not what they tell you it is. Your imagination become what you created. And that's what we have to do. We have to come up with this new us. Restructure our belief and don't stand on it. Use it as information. Some of it is true. If it's true, it all will come back to the same truth. It won't change. Now, if it's a lie, it's going to change. And you're going to have your friend over here saying this, your friend over there saying that. This person is Muslim. This person is Christian. This person is this. This one is that. And you see nobody get along. It's a bunch of neighbors that don't speak to each other. And if they had the opportunity, all their gods tell them to kill the other neighbor, but love their neighbor. Only who? Their neighbor that share their same religion. But to hate and kill their real neighbors. And that's what we're promoting. When you look at it, it's about killing. It's about one God telling you to kill and crush the nation of another nation and make them take your God. Take their land, push them on another land that you capture, and make those people go onto that land. Rewrite their history like they don't exist. So black people is searching and searching and searching, looking for the answers. White people too, the same, searching and searching, looking for the answers. Because everything was built off of one thing, a black germ. The black germ grew into what it grew, and this is what you have today. So there's no question of colors. The question is of soul. What's inside of you? Find what's inside of you, and you will find originality, uniqueness, and an infinite God that always been there. University of Conscious Science. One love.